Have you ever helped your parent order a grocery or pay a bill online? Or perhaps you've received help from your kids to set up your social media account? Have you ever had to do so over a video call when you couldn't be together in person? If you have, you might know that it's not always a smooth process. I'm Teerapaun Tanprasert from the University of British Columbia, and today I will be presenting a design we developed to support this process from our paper, HelpCall, Designing Informal Technology Assistance for Older Adults via Videoconferencing. Studies have shown that video calls have become a common way for older adults to get tech help, but also identified the challenges they face with it. Sometimes the video conferencing tools themselves are difficult to use. Sometimes the older adult struggles to follow the instructions even with screen sharing. Sometimes they have to ask the helper to slow down or repeat the instruction multiple times. This can make the experience not as pleasant and comfortable as it ought to be. Our approach is to explore how we can augment these video-mediated communication tools with visual features to make learning new software tasks smoother and more comfortable for older adults. Let's take a look at our design process. First, we gathered 7 design requirements from older adults and remote learning literature. Then, through iterative brainstorming and design critique sessions with SIGCHI researchers, we came up with draft prototypes with 2 design candidates. We then conducted cognitive walkthroughs with 3 older adults and 3 SIGCHI researchers to refine them into medium fidelity prototypes for the evaluation study. Now, let me introduce you to the overall design concept of HelpCall. It's an augmentation on a one-on-one video call. So in a session, there is an older adult learner and a family helper. Once they turn on HelpCall, the older adult learner's screen and device control would be automatically shared with the helper. Then, as the helper demonstrates how to do a task on their device, HelpCall has 3 components to assist both of them. First, the 2 control modes allow the learner and the helper to take turns controlling the older adult's device. The dual cursor display visualizes both of their cursors so that they can use it to communicate an instruction or a question. Then we have the biggest component, the augmented step display or the ASD, to help save the steps. It automatically captures steps as they are demonstrated and displays them on top of the software application for the older adults to refer back to. While the first 2 components are a custom version of existing features in remote access and collaboration tools, the augmented step display is a novel component and the key contribution that we put most of our design effort into. To explore different approaches to displaying the steps, we developed 2 design candidates for the augmented step display, Tooltip and List. First, let me demonstrate how Tooltip works with the helper in control from the learner's perspectives. Imagine the helper is already connected with the older adult learner and is demonstrating how to reply to an email with the Tooltip candidate turned on. I'll walk you through how to send a reply on Gmail. The first step is to click on the email that you want to reply to. The second step is to click on this reply icon. After I click on it, a tooltip appears there, tells me what clicking on that icon does. You can click to open and close it. Next step is to actually type out the reply. And then the last step is to click send. Now let's restart that task again. We can go through it together. The first step is there. Click to open an email so we can follow it in the numerical order. Second one is to click there. Third is to type out the email, and the last one is to send. So that's how it works. Next, let's look at how List works. Again, in this demo, the helper is already connected with the older adult and will demonstrate how to reply to an email, this time with the List candidate. I'll show you how to reply to an email on Gmail. So the first step is to click on the email that you want to reply to. Next step is to click on this reply icon here. After I do that, see that there is a notification that a step has been recorded appearing there. And if I open this list, the first and the second step has been recorded. Then the next step is to actually type the reply.
So if I do that, another notification appears, and then the last step is to click send. And now let's restart that. Let's go through that together again. The steps are all there now. If you're not sure what the first step is telling you to do, you can click on it and it will show this location anchor that points to where you're supposed to perform that action. So we can follow them one by one. Second step is that. Notice that the first step is now gray because it's not on this page. You cannot see it, which means you cannot click to show the location anchor. And then you can just follow the steps one by one. So that's how you do it.
Here's how the three components could come together. We envision a 3-round format, starting with the helper demonstrating the steps in the task using the helper in control mode, while the demonstrated steps are recorded and displayed in real time by the augmented step display. In the second round, they can switch back to the learner in control mode for the older adult to do hands-on practice. Then, after the helper disconnects, the older adult can pull up the augmented step display and review or reuse it as many times as they need. Our evaluation study followed this 3-round per task structure, but the tool doesn't enforce this flow since the goal is to integrate seamlessly into the remote tech support flow that users are already familiar with. Note that in this study, we are focusing on the synchronous part, leaving the asynchronous re-access for future work. Once we had the medium fidelity prototypes, we ran an evaluation study. The goals were to evaluate the design concept's promise, compare the two design candidates Tooltip and List, and gathered feedback and design for the next phase. The study was an observation plus interview with 3 conditions: Sumoli, Tooltip, and List. It was structured, comparative, and primarily qualitative. We recruited 14 older adults of diverse demographics and backgrounds who have experience with computers and video calls, located in Vancouver, Canada. Let's dive right into what we found in the study. First, we found that HelpCall reduced mistakes and boosted confidence. It was described as easy to use, low effort, accurate, visual, and conveniently all-in-one. During the live demonstration, the real-time capture and display of steps reportedly made it easier for the older adult to follow the instructions. P13 explained that seeing the visual guides appear after each step, each action, helps connect the action to the number and the text. Meanwhile, conversations were quite sparse until the second round, the helper-supported practice, where the older adult asked questions and actually learned to use the augmented step display. Finally, participants really appreciated the reusability of the augmented steps display, as it relieves the pressure to memorize while also encourages long-term independence. One of the implications is the value of the tool depends heavily on the quality of its content, as users expect the system to be more accurate and comprehensive than themselves, and that's one of its key benefits. Next, let's look at the comparison and design trade-offs between the two design candidates. Contrary to the evenly split opinions we received in the earlier design iterations, Tooltip was preferred by 9 out of 14 participants who appreciated that it provided 2 levels of detail, spatial reminders, clear logical sequence, and cleaner interface. Displaying the step in 2 levels, either only the number or with the text open, allowed the older adult to, quote, test themselves. As P11 explained, it feels like it's testing me too. When I saw the number without clicking it, I tried to figure it out on my own first, and it made me feel good if I could do that without having to open it. 3 participants preferred List because it's scannable, centralized, had a very clear location anchor, and the list itself is detailed and comprehensive. Interestingly, we also found a pattern that lists seemed to be more suitable for learners who needed close guidance, while Tooltip better supported those who only need occasional reminders or confirmations. Since we want to support as broad a range of users as we could, we can either integrate the well-received elements of List into Tooltip or allowed older adults to toggle between the 2 designs. Finally, we identified some barriers that could hinder older adults from actually using HelpCall despite their positive reception of its concept. First, Quite a few of our participants struggled to learn to use HelpCall, suggesting that the learnability of HelpCall itself could be improved. Another barrier is more intrinsic, as 8 out of 14 participants expressed reluctance to, quote, bother family members for help, preferring same-age peer and professional tech support. So, one implication is that the design shouldn't focus only on the older adult's experience, but also to make providing support as unobtrusive and effortless as possible for the helpers, as it will in turn encourage the older adult to feel better about reaching out as well. In conclusion, we have introduced you to the concept of HelpCall, a system that leverages live human assistance to create visual, step-by-step in-application instruction that users can review and master at their own pace. We have validated its potential to make software support and learning more convenient and comfortable for older adults. Finally, we have generated insights for designing synchronous software help for users with different skill levels. We are also now working on the next phase, developing an improved high-fidelity prototype and evaluating it with both the older adults and helpers, focusing more on their interactions, relationship dynamics, and helpers' perspectives. If you are interested to know more about HelpCall, please check out our full paper. Thank you.